Welcome to another beautiful day in the land of music. My name is Douglas, and in today's video, I'm going to be walking you through the steps to upgrade the firmware on the IK Multimedia Uno Synth Pro. I'm also going to talk about what's included in this firmware release, and the firmware release we're going to be talking about today is version 1.0.1. I don't know how I missed it, but this firmware release came out in July 9th of this year, 2021, and IK Multimedia just released version 2, and once I get the release notes for that, I'll make a video on upgrading the firmware for that. But in today's video, we're going to focus on getting the Uno Synth Pro upgraded to version 1.0.1, but make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the version 2 upgrade video where I talk about what's included with that, how to go about the upgrade. So we're going to start with 1.0.1, get our synth updated to that level, and then I'll put out another video. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. That being said, let's jump over. I'm going to switch camera angles to the overhead and to my computer, talk about where to get the firmware update, how to download it, how to install it, and upgrade the Uno Synth Pro. We're going to go through all of that. If you've got any questions, throw those in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. So over here on the computer, the first thing that I want to point out is you're going to need the IK Multimedia Product Manager. So that's what you're seeing right here. In order to get that, go to the IK Multimedia's website, ikmultimedia.com, and go up to the support menu and click on the IK Product Manager. You're going to need to download either the Windows or Mac, depending on which system you're using. Download and install that, and you're also going to need to create an IK Multimedia account. And this is what you're going to use to register the synthesizer. You'll do that through this process here of register a product. Clicking that button. I'm going to assume for this video that you've already registered your synth with IK Multimedia, and then that you've got the IK Multimedia Product Manager downloaded. Once you've got that, open it up and click Manage My Products. You'll see here we have 3 tabs across the top: software, sounds, and hardware. Hardware is where you're going to find the different software and drivers for the Uno Synth Pro. We've got manuals, so all of the manuals for the Uno Synth Pro, the Uno Synth Pro editor. I'll have a separate video on that coming really soon. And then in the drivers tab, we've got the 2 firmware releases. In this video, we're going to be talking about version 1.0.1 released on July 9th. There is version 2, but I don't have release notes for it yet, so be on the lookout for that video real soon. So what we're going to do is download version 1.0.1 by clicking the download button. This is going to download it to the location you've specified in your preferences. And once that's downloaded, go ahead and use the Windows Extract All function, or if you've got a zip program, unzip the zip file that gets downloaded, and you're going to end up with a directory called Uno Synth Pro Firmware Updater 1.0.1. Open that up, and you're going to have 2 files in that directory: the Uno Synth Pro Firmware Updater.exe and the firmware release notes.pdf. If we open that up, you'll see that the release notes for firmware version 1.0.1, they fixed some display views, fixed the modulation slot fade in, increased the control points for attack, decay, and release of the envelopes, passing from 127 to 256 points, showed as 1 to 256. And then fixes a problem with the attack time on the amp envelope, which would cause unwanted clicks. So those are all the fixes included in firmware release 1.0.1. We're going to get our synth updated here, so we're ready for version 2 as soon as I get the release notes for that. So to update the synthesizer, the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure the synth is turned on and that you're plugged into both the power adapter and also plugged the USB cable from the synthesizer to your computer. So right now I've got the synthesizer on. And I've got it plugged in USB to my computer. So next what we're going to do is open up the firmware updater.exe by double clicking on that file. And it gives you some instructions here saying basically the same thing I just said. Make sure that your power and your USB cables are plugged in to the computer and into the surge protector or wherever you've got that plugged in. And then that your synth is on. If it's not on but it's plugged in, go ahead and hold down on this hold button. That's going to power on the synthesizer. Let it go through its calibration settings. And then once it's done that, you're good to go with the update. Once the synthesizer is on and plugged in, tap on the setup button here on the synthesizer. Use the selector encoder to scroll all the way down to the bottom and click on the OS update. To select that, push down on the encoder and then push down one more time on the update option. It's going to power cycle the synthesizer. We had a click there because this is plugged through my audio interface. But anyway, Once that happens, you'll see on the computer screen, it says waiting for connection, and then UnoSynth Pro detected and ready for update. Once that happens, this update button becomes available. So we're gonna go ahead and click on that. And it says firmware update in progress. So it's gonna go through and update the firmware on the synthesizer. And now that the firmware update's complete, we get a firmware update complete message, and the firmware update is complete. Now back on the synthesizer, we can go ahead and unplug the USB cable. And then we're gonna unplug the power as well, which is going to power cycle our UnoSynth Pro. And you'll see it now says version 1.0.1. Calibration is gonna take place. Don't touch any of the buttons or anything while it calibrates. Let it do its thing. And once it turns on, we'll be all set with version 1.0.1. So I hope this video was helpful for you. If you've got any questions at all, throw them down in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. Also, make sure you're subscribed and hit that little bell notification so you get notified first next time I release another video on the UnoSynth Pro. Thanks for watching, stay inspired, and keep making that music.